God put me in this position for a reason. He gave me this platform, and I'm forever grateful for that. There was a family that lost a loved one. And I feel for her family. I feel for her 2 kids, her husband, the community that she lived in. I can't imagine what they're going through. But I'm thankful that my family's here. We're standing strong. We've had some emotional ups and downs, but God is good, and He's carrying us through. The events that took place on that flight they are what they are. God created a servant heart in me, and I felt a calling to get up and do something, stand up and act. I'm no different than any other firefighter in this country. For some reason, whatever reason that is, it was me that day. But I work with some great guys that would have no doubt have done the same thing. And I'm just grateful to be here in this position. I'm grateful for the city of Salina, my community, this fire department, Chief Medker, Chief Hunn, Chief Everson. They've all stood with me through this. Dr. Beeson has reached out to me. A lot of folks have reached out to me, and there's a lot of love that has been sent my way, and I'm forever grateful for that. There's no way I can repay any of that that we've been blessed with over the last few days. So I guess at this time I'll take questions if you have them.
Can you explain to us or talk us through what happened and the situation, how things went during those fatal moments?
Yeah, it was a terrible thing happened, and someone lost their life. But we took off from LaGuardia, no issues, smooth takeoff, and got in the air. I was informed that we're somewhere around 32,000 feet, something like that. And I heard a loud pop, as we all did. Flight attendants were in the aisle, the row behind me, and I believe they had started to ask for drink orders. And when the pop occurred, when the engine failed, and I immediately looked to them in the aisle, turned back around, and the oxygen mask had been deployed. My father was sitting next to me, and my son next to my father against the window, and put mine on and helped my dad and my son with theirs. I guess Dad already had my son taken care of, so didn't really help out much there. I looked across the aisle to find my wife and my mom and my daughter on the other side. They had their mask on, and immediately behind my wife was a young female traveling alone, and she had about a 6-month-old child sitting in her lap. There were some issues with them getting their mask on. A couple of times I got up from my seat and helped her try to get the mask on herself as well as her child. Sat back down and looked across the aisle to my wife after we heard some commotion in the rear of the plane. And I looked at her eyes, and she basically gave me the approval to go back there. In fact, I think she may have told me to go. But anyways, at that time is when I went to the rear of the plane. And what took place back there, I'm going to leave, out of respect for her family, I'm going to leave that alone. But I never was in fear of my life. I'm sure my family could speak otherwise, but I'm trained for emergency situations, and that's just exactly what it was. And felt moved to act, and as well as other people on that plane. Tammy Jo, the pilot, professional in all aspects, and her crew, amazing job. Southwest is a great company, and they took really good care of us. No question in my mind as to who I'll be flying with again, but they really took care of us. And Tim McGinney, he was my big guy, had my back. Nurse Peggy, she's a special lady. Tyler, I'll butcher his last name, but you know who you are. He and his wife were on a return flight from their honeymoon, and he helped out tremendously. There was others. People aboard that plane. God put people on that plane for a reason, and that's everybody acted, and everybody stood strong. But we finally made it to the ground, I guess, and just thankful, So again, my heart goes out to Jennifer and her family, and I can't imagine what they're going through. So.
Y'all have had some time to pray on this and think about it. When you talk about being on that plane for a reason, do you know what that reason is yet?
I really don't. I don't know. We never know. We may never know why that reason is. God put us all on that plane for a reason. Don't know why. He gave us this platform today. And it's just our prayer that His glory shine through this.
Stephanie, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I just kind of want to ask, the tears that flow right now, I'm sure there's mixed emotions, but can you kind of just walk us through what's on your heart right now?
I'm very proud of him. This is a calling that he has, and he did amazing.
That nod that you gave him?
Yeah.
What's that nod? I'm sure you've done that nod before.
I don't know if it's a nod, but it's in her eyes. I can see it in her eyes when
you did that nod, did you say, I don't know what's going on over there, but other people need him more than my family now, and it's what the Lord wants, or can you explain what made you say, yes, go do it?
I never really feared for my personal kids. Their grandparents both had them. I did have my hand on my daughter. I was concerned about this sweet little girl behind me who was with her mom, and I can't imagine how scared she was. I do feel like God has called us all to do special things, and Andrew's is to serve other people, and I knew that God had him on there. I don't know that I said anything to him.
I don't think so.
I just knew that at that moment that someone else needed him much more than we did. And that's what his calling is to help. And that's what he did.
Since the situation happened, have you guys gotten closer? It seems that you guys are a very close family as it is, but have you even gotten closer with not just your father and all, but the children? I mean, tell us about that if you could.
Yeah, there's a special bond in this community, Salina, and within this fire department. And I think we've all grown from this circumstance. And even with the people on board the plane, been in contact with them, and well, you know, we're still healing, and this isn't over as far as the healing goes. But we know we're not alone, and so, like I said earlier, we're standing here strong, and just know that God's in control, and we'll move forward.
One last question from me. Any message directly to the family that you want to send condolences or something?
Yeah, like I said earlier, she had 2 kids and a loving husband and a community around her that loved her. So my heart is broken for them, and I just pray that they find comfort, they find healing, whatever that may be, or however they seek it. But time will heal.
Could you describe what was the scene on the plane? Was it calm? Was people moving around, helping people? Could you just kind of describe what the scene on the plane was like?
Yeah, like I said earlier, you know, people were placed on that plane for a reason, and there was people helping others throughout the plane, no doubt. And I felt calm. I knew that Tammy Jo had it under control. So that allowed me and others to do what we did. So I think overall, I think it was calm. Yeah. Calm.
Going back in time for a moment, what brought you to that plane? What were you doing that morning? Were you traveling in New York for a trip, or what was?
Yeah, we were in New York on a family vacation, visiting an aunt of my wife's and her daughter, and it was my my parents' 39th wedding anniversary, and so we went up there to celebrate with them. Stephanie and I had some other things that have occurred here recently in our lives that it was time to get away, and so that's where we chose to go for our destination as a family. So,
What types of things did you do leading up to that morning?
leading up to which morning?
The morning of the flight.
Well, anybody with 2 kids and a somewhat early flight, it can be hectic, and that's what it was. It was hectic. But yeah, I mean, we got through, was it TSA,
Yes.
security, and it was a close call making it for the flight. Probably, yeah, no, it was good. Go ahead.
Previous, probably, I believe our last 2 days in New York City were, I believe, focused on fire and rescue. It was an amazing time. We visited Andrew had the opportunity to visit and talk with firemen in 2 different stations and visited 9/11 Memorial and the other memorial on Riverside Drive, the Fire Museum. Andrew and Stephanie both were reading fireman books that they had purchased. It was, when I look back as a mom, it was all in preparation for what happened on the plane. Of course, she had no idea, but God just used that those times to where both of their hearts were in on fire and rescue. And so when the event happened, a mom and a dad responded. Stephanie was helping the mom behind us with her baby. Tommy and I had the children. My focus was directly on Ellie. His was directly on Colton. And they were free, I felt, to respond to other needs on the plane. And they did it very well. And Tommy